All right. Almost. All right. What's going on, Fire Dogs?
How you doing? Good to see you.
You doing good, Fire Dogs?
Fire Dogs is doing good.
All right, Fire Dogs. I'm looking at myself. I don't like looking at myself on the screen. So so we into week 5. Well,
Yes,
let me make this formal, make it official. What am I, disrespecting all the other ones? Greetings, owners and coaches of this wonderful San Antonio Professional Fantasy Football League. It's week 5. As y'all see, I got a 49ers fan. He's playing another 49ers fan. So we're going to get to my guest, my esteemed guest that I have this week. But want to go over a couple of things before we get to the matchups. We got a really good game, a lot of good games, but there's one key matchup with two teams that have identical records. So, but before we get into that, me and my trusty co-host this week, Mr. Fire Dogs. I don't know. Do you want to say anything before we get started, Mr. Fire Dogs?
Nothing really, except the Fire Dogs is coming to get everybody.
All right. So before we get into the full thing, I wanted to go over real quick power rankings. So power rankings, I'll see when I stop. I don't know if I go through the top. I'll go to the top 5 for sure, maybe the top 8. I don't know if the final 8 really are we're not going to go through the bottom 8. There's no need to do that. But sitting at the top of power ranks right now, we got the 3-1 King of the Gridiron sitting at number 2 in the power rankings. We got Bulldogs, which hint, that might have something to do with the game of the week. The G-Man is sitting at 2-2. And believe it or not, he's at 2-2, but he has the most points in the league at 919. So pretty interesting. 2-2 team, most points in the league, and number 3 in power rankings. Number 4 in power rankings, anybody want to guess? It's the Baker King. Baker King he's had a tie last week, but technically he's 4-0 because of the tiebreaker. But the power rankings has that tie in there. But due to how tiebreakers work, he's number 4. Sitting at number 5, Big Wolf at 3-1. He's a number 2 scoring team in the league. STL is 2-2. He's number 6. And number 7, we got a 1-3 team that is averaging over, he has 903 points in the season. It's crazy, right? I mean, can't imagine that. And then rounding out the top was at 7 or 8 of us. You got Dark Knight sitting at 3-1. So, man, Fire Dogs, we don't have you in this top half of it. Wait a minute, let me scroll down. Do I see Fire Dogs is the next one? Man, they got Infantry Warrior and robbed. You're getting robbed in this whole power rankings thing, I think. What's the deal with that?
The power rankings is irrelevant. It comes down to coaching. That's been proven in this league time and time again.
All right, there's going to be some that's going to argue with you because the power rankings do matter to some of us. Not saying it matters to me a whole lot, but I do care. But so looking at the way the divisions are lined up right now, everybody's playing out of conference games. You got Dark Knight sitting at the top. I think we're a little bit surprised with him being at the top, STL being number 2, him and Action J are tied up, and then Goat still looking for that first win of the season. Fire Dogs, you're sitting at the top, but you're tied with King of the Gridiron. Hopefully you do what you're supposed to do this week, and then Bulldogs dust off King of the Gridiron. You might have that by yourself, man.
I do have it by myself because I already dusted off King of the Gridiron.
Okay. So you dusted him. So in that next division, of course, we talked about the aforementioned Baker King. Everybody else in his division has only 1 win. So Baker King is really king of the division on that north side of things. And then you got me, Big Wolf, also tied with Bulldogs. So I kind of want Bulldogs to lose, but we'll see what happens. But we got a couple of other. It's going to be a tough division. We know that, but excited to get into this week's matchups, man. You ready to break some of them down? See who we got with winners?
Let's go.
All right, let's get into, well, we already talked about it. So let's just get right into it. We got the game of the week. We got the top 2 teams that are in the power rankings that don't matter to my co-host for this week, Fire Dogs. It doesn't matter to him, but we got the King of the Gridiron 3-1 versus the Bulldogs at 3-1. So what do you say, Fire Dogs, about this matchup?
I think that's a good game. That's a game between 2 teams that's been in the league for a while. Two
Yeah.
teams is usually at the top of their divisions.
Yeah.
And the only weakness I can see is one of them may be playing Mac Jones as their quarterback, but it's going
Yeah.
to be a good game.
Yeah, he's having Geno Smith being on a bye is going to really put a damper in things. And Mac Jones going to be against the Saints defense. You can't expect a bunch of points out of that game, but you never know, man. Bill Belichick, he might decide to throw on the Saints defense because you definitely can't run a whole lot on them.
We might get fooled and Zappy might start.
Yeah, that could happen too. Man, Bulldogs, he started Brian Robinson last night. I thought Brian Robinson, I think everybody in the Commanders thought they was going to do better, right?
I did. I thought they were going to do better, but number 2 on the Bears decided to take over that game.
Yeah, and we'll get to that point total in a minute. But I mean, and looking at the matchup, running backs, I think ETN is going to do well. They're playing in London again. DeAndre Swift, he's coming up. He's looking pretty consistent. Those receivers, man, for King of the Gridiron, Addison and Pickens. Who has the better chance of getting 30 this week? That's how I'm gonna look at it.
I would say Pickens.
Pickens has a better chance to get 30.
I like Pickens. I like Pickens, and he's like their main receiver.
But against the Ravens defense, I don't see it happening. I would say Addison because of his big playability, but they both have big playability. But we know the Vikings are going to be throwing against KC. So
I really like Pickens, though.
Yeah. All right, so I don't want to break this game down too much more. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win?
Who do I think is going to win this one?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with King of the Gridiron.
King of the Gridiron? I like that pick too. I like that pick, King of the Gridiron, Jordan Love on Monday Night Football. He's going to stretch this thing out. He's going to leave it up to Monday night. But I'm with you on that. I'm going to take King of the Gridiron in this one too. So we got King of the Gridiron winning this first matchup. What's the next game we want to go to? We want to go to let's go to Action Jackson and the Baker King, 2-2 versus 4-0. The tallest person in the league versus the shortest person. Whatever, man. We ain't gonna doing that.
Still funny. Well, that's a good game in itself. Also, Baker King's been playing well with his team, putting out good guys, and this year, Action Jackson actually winning some games, so it may be a good one.
Yeah, it took him a while to get that first dub last year, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It took him almost the whole season.
Well, he's got the wins already so far. Man, all right, so let's just look at a couple of things on here because even though this isn't the marquee matchup like we had with the previous 2 teams, it's still a great – it's a rivalry game for sure, right? We know they're probably texting and talking to each other. Here's the thing with it all comes down to who's healthy for Action Jackson is what I look like or what I look at. And Barkley is probably going to play this week. He might end up switching that part of his lineup. And the other part is Jonathan Taylor's going to play too this week. It's not a great matchup, but Jonathan Taylor's definitely going to play.
Yeah. I still like Baker King in this one.
You like Baker King?
I like Baker King in this one.
We're split. I'm taking Baker King to get that first loss in here. So we're gonna split that matchup. The league will have to deal with us not being on the same page there.
I really don't think the Baker King's gonna come up short in this one.
Let's go to the next game. We got STL 2-2 versus Robbed 1-3. And this is the first time. Not the first time, but DJ Moore, man. DJ Moore is sitting there with 74 points, 8 catches, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had touchdowns of 20, 11, awesome, and 56.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching this game last night, and the crazy thing was on the first drive, he had 26 points. The first drive, 26 points on the first drive. So, So Robbed has already got himself quite a pretty big lead. The Dolphins got the Giants. Danny Dimes is going to throw some dimes to the secondary. That's going to happen. He's going to get sacked. Laporta and Travis Kelce is probably the best tight end duo in the league. I mean, what you say? Like STL is putting Purdy out there. Garoppolo's back. He's got Waller. We'll see what happens. He's got Garrett Wilson. Tyreek Hill is always going to be a monster. But McCaffrey, I think, will still have a great day. And Devon Achane, it's not as a cakewalk if that 74 points hadn't been put on the other side. That's how I look at it. I probably
That's a good start, though.
If I didn't see 74 on the other side, I think I'd pick STL actually.
The interesting thing is, my wife had a team in the women's league, and the 74 points hit her, but she actually had Logan and somebody else, which pretty much negated most of those points.
Yeah.
So I don't know if STL will be able to do the same.
Yeah, and if you look at who's on STL's bench, it's Logan Thomas.
If anybody, I would say it would be McCaffrey, but
yeah,
he's playing against that Dallas defense tomorrow, so I don't know.
Yeah, Dallas defense, ain't nobody caring,
No, look, let's be straight. They play good football on occasion.
But McCaffrey's a receiver too, so they'll use him in the flats and all that stuff. So all right, who you picking?
Who am I picking? I'm going to take the 4 points already given and run.
Okay, all right. I'm going to do the same. I think it's going to be hard to overcome that 74.
Well, I had that problem in a game when the running back for the Saints scored 5 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, Alvin Kamara.
No matter what happened, there was nothing I could do.
Yeah, that was in a play. I think that was in the championship game. You ain't gonna take Gerard down in that one. Nope. He had won 15 games in a row, I think. So we were all just part of the season.
I'm just saying, once you get those points that high, there's nothing you can do. It's hard.
Yeah. Now the other thing is Tyreek Hill could do the same thing. So it is, yeah. Next up, we got Dark Knight versus Dark Knights 3-1. Mentioned that earlier. Dark Knights versus Swagner. He's 1-3. Patrick Mahomes versus CJ Stroud. I'm picking Patrick Mahomes on that side. Would you do the same? He's playing Minnesota.
I would. Yeah. CJ's playing good football, but Patrick Mahomes playing unbelievable football. So
yeah. Chuba Hubbard, Latavius Murray versus Cam Akers and Jaleel McLaughlin. Take your pick, man. Both struggling running backs over there. But you got Zay Flowers and Deebo Samuel. That's pretty strong.
Deebo hasn't been doing what he usually does, but I'm expecting a real big game against the Cowboys from Deebo. So I think that might be the move for him.
Definitely. And we got messages coming in. Okay, no, it's just an update about the live now. I'm sure there'll be some shenanigans coming on here in a second. I hear what you're saying about Deebo, though.
He's due.
Yeah. Texans defense versus Atlanta Falcons. Bills versus Jags. I probably would take the Texans over the Falcons. The Falcons can't throw, so the point total is going to come in his favor just because of the lack of passing. And then he's already got 26 points from his tight end. I think I'm going to pick Dark Knight to continue to roll. Although Dark Knight, he has messaged me, he chimed in on the group chat, and he even told me face to face yesterday that I'm the reason why he lost. I'm not the reason why he set Cole Kmet and somebody else last week, although he would have got trounced either way. But it's not my fault that he took his first loss. And if he loses again this week, it's not my fault. I don't pick these things like that.
I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. It comes down to coaching. He made those choices.
All right. So are you picking Dark Knight to win over Swagner though, or you going the other way?
Actually, I like Dark Knight.
Okay. All right, Dark Knight, read them and weep, man. Win your game. Don't worry. Don't blame it on us. Next up, we got Goat, who's 0-4, trying to get that first win versus Infantry Warrior. Sam Howell got 51 points in that loss last night. That's the cool thing about fantasy. You can have a crappy, garbage, just an awful game from the commander standpoint, but he had 51.
Is this Kamara's first game back?
Yes. No. He played last week.
He played last week?
Yeah, he played last week.
Okay. Ja'Marr Chase, but he hasn't been getting thrown.
It's 20 hours.
Oh, that's my thing. I think the GOAT might be able to get his first.
You think the GOAT can get his first?
I think the GOAT can get his first.
Yeah, the only argument I would try to go on the other side is, again, that Saints defense, because the Chiefs defense, I don't know if you remember a few years ago when it was a Rams versus the Rams versus the Chiefs on the Monday night game, and both defenses ended up with 50, although both teams had 50 as well.
I
It
remember
was
that.
an offensive, palooza to use that word, but I can see that with the Minnesota game. So I think the Saints defense will have something to say. But
Definitely.
with already having a good start, oh, look who's on Infantry Warriors bench.
I know.
86.
I just glanced at that. 86 points. Oh,
He set Justin Fields, but when you got Tua, I understand.
Tua's been playing well. You
Yeah,
can't bench the
yeah.
guy that's playing well. It's hard.
All right. So are we gonna say because of that bad decision is gonna lead to positivity on the GOAT side, and at the end of this game, both teams will be 1-4?
Well, I'm just thinking the GOAT got off to a good start with the 51 points, and he's got a good team up there. I think he's going to be able to pull this one out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're going with GOAT. We're going with GOAT getting his first victory of the season. Let's see. We got Huckleberry, who's 1-3 versus G-Man 2-2. Huckleberry started off. He got 11 points from Terry McLaurin. You would think with all those yards that what's his name got that some of it would have went to McLaurin, but they wrapped him up with a blanket last night. But they left Logan Thomas open. I think a couple of deep plays to Curtis Samuel got some stuff. Man, Huckleberry has been killing it with points, but I think it's really been because of Kirk Cousins and Raheem Mostert have been doing a whole bunch. Them guys have been scoring 50 and 60 every week. You look on the other side, it's like, how is G-Man 2-2 with that squad? I know the running backs haven't done much, but Pacheco's coming on. You could already see where I'm going. I'm picking G-Man to win. The only thing I forgot, I talked to him earlier today. I forgot that he told me he started the Commanders defense and they only got 15 points.
Oh man, that's ugly.
That's a hole. And
but I can never count G-Men out. He's a great coach. He's done a great job putting men on the field. Yeah. And Huckleberry's the record doesn't show it, but he has a good team. That's a tough one.
The second leading scorer, he's a top 3 scoring team in the league. So
I'm gonna go with the upset here and say Huckleberry is gonna snatch this one.
Oh wow. I thought we had man, you know what? We need because we got 2 more games involving ourselves, and there are going to be splits on those games. So let's be in unison in this one. You said Huckleberry?
Huckleberry.
I'm going with Huckleberry. Huckleberry, get your second win. Huckleberry, get your second win. All right. So we've talked about Fire Dogs versus Laugh Now. So 3-1 Fire Dogs. Laugh Now is 1-3. Laugh Now, I'm gonna talk a little trash. He ain't gonna like it, but I'm talking a little trash. I told him last year, or we told him all season, he couldn't dig a hole like he did last year and get himself out of it and get in the playoffs and onto the championship. He's doing it. He's in that 1-3 hole on the verge of 1-4. But he could be getting right in the right places, if that makes sense. It's not a bad team. The record doesn't indicate what he's had to go up against. He's went up against some high-powered teams, and I think quarterback has been more of his issue than anything because Daniel Jones hasn't lived up to it. He won a championship and went on a 7-game, win streak last year with him, but right now Daniel Jones is not it, and he's gone to Jared Goff, which is a huge upgrade for him. So it's one of those. I can't look at the 1-3 record because it's a little bit of a different team that you're playing this week. So I don't know if you got anything to say about him or you.
No, he's got a good team. As far as the Fire Dogs, I can't say anything about them because I'm affiliated with them.
Well, that's my line.
I know. I was trying to make sure I could say it right, but I messed it up.
No, you cannot do that. that phrase is trademarked. All right, so here's an obvious glaring weakness for the Fire Dogs this week, everybody. Both his quarterbacks on bye, and he failed to do anything about it. But he's still going to have to put a lineup out there without those quarterbacks. So that's a free square for somebody to take advantage of, and it might be the one for Laugh Now to take advantage of. So with that, sir, he's got a full roster. You got some high-powered players to get out there. I'm going to say that he's able to overcome you without the quarterback.
I think he will.
I think he's going to be
one of the problems that I had was looking at the players that was available at quarterback. Seemed like I get 0 with them, so why get rid of one of my quarterbacks?
All right.
That's part of what held me up.
All right, Laugh Now gets win number 2. And the final game, we have the better team who's 2-2 versus the Wolf who's 3-1. They both have great teams. The Wolf has practiced hard this week. Lamar feels like he's ready. Jameer got a little banged up in practice. We'll see what really happens with that. Rashawn got banged up. Man, I'll tell you one thing. If you get in the concussion protocol right now, you are not going to finish the game. It doesn't matter.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I don't think he really had one, but he went in the protocol. You're not going back in the game. They're not going to let that fluid situation happen like it did last year.
Did you catch the game? Did you catch the game where the guy, they pulled him out, he tried to sneak back in, and they stopped play again and said, "Get him out of there"?
Yeah, that, and then Jamal Adams went off on them, and so
he's going to look like he's going to cry.
Right. So first game back and gets an immediate, got taken out. And then Luke Musgrave, he got in last Thursday. So I'm out on starting players on Thursday anymore. I can't play Thursday players anymore.
Thursday's not a good game. No,
I'm not doing Thursday players anymore. So due to my affiliation with the Wolf organization, I cannot make a pick in this game. Let's move on. We don't have to make
I can make a pick.
Well, you don't have to though. You're a co-host. You're along with, you don't have to make a pick in this game, sir.
Let me make a choice, man.
Go ahead, make a pick, man.
All right. I played the better team, and he whipped up on me. He's got a good team with Josh Allen. Looking at the Wolf has a good team. So, and I'm going to have to go with the Wolf.
Whatever.
I'm going to have to go with the Wolf.
Whatever. We'll see how the Wolf does. The Wolf is having to play.
My choices are bad luck for the Wolf, like his are for me.
The Wolf is playing backups for sure this week, though. Michael Wilson was a pickup off the waivers.
Really?
Yes, picked him up, starting him. That's what I do. I pick up guys and start them. We'll see what they do. I like trash.
Found me a trashy quarterback. Yep. No, I would still been in trouble because I didn't want to get rid of what I had. Okay.
All right. Well, it's been good, man. We should do this more often. You're a really good co-host. Although when I play you, I don't know if I want to talk to you about that, but your insight, appreciate you looking at it. Anything else you got before we sign off?
For all my Cowboy friends, nothing could be finer than to be a 49er.
Say it one more time, just in case, because I want their ears to bleed.
Nothing could be finer than to be a 49er.
Go Niners!
Hey, that's for you too, Brandon and Eagles.
Oh, man, I'm not a 49ers fan. The Saints, I think we're going to relegate to putting bags back over our heads.
I like the Saints, man.
Yeah,
I just think they got to get Carr healthy.
Yeah.
Shoot, they were playing good football until he got hurt.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm getting another co-host in here that really doesn't need to be on the show. So you want to say anything, man? All right. Well, that does it for Wolfcast Week 5. Enjoy the games.
I appreciate you for having me on today.
I appreciate you too, man.
Thank you.
Well, meeting adjourned.